When people ask me what I'm proud of, I tell them the number, 7 figures. A cool $1 million tucked away for retirement. I achieved the American dream, right? But if you could trade back the money for the life you didn't live, I would empty that bank account today without a second thought. It sits there, untouched, beautiful on the statement, worthless to me now. Because I didn't just save that money. I paid for it with every decade I had. And the final price was everything else that mattered. It took me until 84 to understand that fear of poverty had made me truly poor in moments. My father grew up during the Depression. He hammered one message into my head: never be a burden. Always be ready for the bottom to fall out. That fear became my blueprint. Every paycheck was a soldier to send to the front line of my savings account. I convinced myself that every sacrifice was temporary. We just had to endure this phase. Once we hit that magical number, then we'd live. Then we'd travel. Then I'd slow down and read all those books. The problem with waiting for then is that then is just a concept, and life is happening right now, whether you're participating or not. I thought I was being responsible. I was actually just procrastinating joy. My Clementine, we married young. She was always the dreamer. She kept a corkboard full of postcards of places she wanted to see. The Scottish Highlands, that little chapel in Italy. I used to pat her hand and say, "Soon, love, we just need a bigger cushion first." The cushion was never big enough. Every time she brought up an adventure, I saw a dent in the savings. I saw risk. So we traded adventure for overtime. We traded spontaneity for spreadsheet projections. Looking back, I realized Clementine didn't want the perfect trip. She just wanted the time. She just wanted me to choose her in that moment over the clock. I remember the time our son Jacob won a scholarship to study abroad for a semester. Clementine begged me, "Let's go see him off. Let's spend a week exploring London before he gets stuck into classes." It was $4,000 round trip. I calculated the interest we would lose over 10 years. I told her we couldn't afford to drain the travel budget before we officially retired. We sent him a card and a bank transfer instead. Jacob is 40 now. He tells me he understood, but I know what I sent him was a check, not a father. That memory keeps me awake sometimes. I traded my son's excitement for a minuscule percentage return. We always planned that big anniversary cruise. 40 years. That was the big benchmark. We were going to celebrate reaching the million mark, too. I pictured us, finally relaxed, finally guilt-free. We got the brochures every year, folding down the corners of the places we'd visit. The brochures are still sitting there, on the top shelf of the study. I retired at 68, a few years later than planned, of course. We had the money. We had the time. We had finally, truly made it. The day I hit that 7-figure balance, it felt monumental, like winning a marathon. I printed the statement. I stared at the commas. It was proof that my decades of rigid discipline had paid off. But I didn't feel rich. I felt tired. And honestly, I immediately started thinking, what if inflation spikes? Maybe I should push for 1.2 million just to be safe. The fear didn't magically vanish when the number appeared. It just changed the target. Clementine looked at the statement and just sighed. She didn't look proud, she looked worried. She knew we hadn't banked joy, we just banked stress. 6 months after I finally hung up my corporate ID badge, the doctors called me in. Prostate cancer. Nothing aggressive, they said, but it required radiation, surgery, recovery. Suddenly the planning stopped. The travel bags remained in the attic. My body, which I had treated like a machine designed only for production, decided it was time for maintenance. My whole adult life had been about preparing the perfect launch for my golden years. And just as the rocket was ready to leave the pad, the fuel line clogged up. The irony is brutal, isn't it? I spent 40 years of perfect health saving money to travel, and then the money was ready exactly when my body wasn't. Now the longest trip I can comfortably manage is to the grocery store and back. I'm fine, I'm recovering, but those peak years of energy, they're gone. I can look at the view from my window, but I can't climb the cliffs of Scotland like I promised Clementine we would. The financial security I gained was entirely undercut by the biological insecurity I created through relentless pressure. My daughter Rebecca, she visits often. She's starting her own family now. A few years ago, she and her husband debated taking a sabbatical year to drive across the country in a beat-up RV. They came to me for financial advice, hoping I'd tell them it was irresponsible. But I couldn't. I looked at my bank account, and I looked at my walker, and I told her, go now. That time is precious, and it doesn't wait for your ledger to balance perfectly. I realized I had accidentally raised my children to be fearful of spontaneity, just like I was. I had to break that cycle. A few months ago, Clementine and I were just sitting here, watching the rain. She picked up that old brochure for the Scottish cruise, the one we looked at every year. She didn't say anything spiteful, just very softly. She said, Silas, we had 50 years of healthy knees. We only needed one good year. I realized then that my commitment to the future had been theft from the past. I didn't steal money, I stole memories. And that's a debt that no $1 million can ever repay. The money protects me from poverty, but it doesn't comfort the memory of lost youth. So to those of you watching, especially those in their 30s and 40s who are grinding away, delaying everything until the right time, stop. Please, stop putting off the small joys that cost nothing but time. Time is the only currency that matters, and you cannot save it. You can only spend it. Balance is a myth if you are completely sacrificing today for a tomorrow that isn't guaranteed. Save responsibly, yes, but do not wait for ready. You are ready now. Your body is ready now. Your kids are ready now. Go take the trip. Take the mental health day. Invest in the life you have, not just the one you hope to buy someday. I'm an old man now. I have enough money to be comfortable for the rest of my days, but I have run out of the most valuable resource, days themselves. I have achieved great financial success, but I am filled with overwhelming regret for the joy I shelved. Don't let your tombstone read, "He died waiting for the perfect moment." The perfect moment was always whatever moment you were actually in. Use the money, use the legs, use the time, before the opportunity becomes just another heavy thing you own that you can no longer enjoy.